Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the State of the Landscape Design Build Industry. This is the forum where we talk about how other top landscape design professionals around the country are managing through this crazy COVID time. And we're very blessed today. We have Nick McCullough on today from Ohio, from New Albany, Ohio. And Nick is an award-winning landscape designer. His work is incredible. I've been a huge fan ever since I met him. Also, he is, I like to call him the landscape and gardening social media icon, right? He has all kinds of crazy followers. He's done some amazing stuff. You did the Philadelphia Flower Show last year, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic job there. You also own a peony and dogwood farm.
We do, yep, yeah.
It's really interesting. And you also have I believe it's a show, but it's Beyond the Boxwood or a blog that you...
Yeah, Thinking Outside the Boxwood is
Thinking Outside the Boxwood, right.
Yeah, and so love to share garden design knowledge. And
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, thanks for coming on. And so first question for you is, how long have you been doing this?
So it seems like my entire life. That's probably the God's honest truth to it. But I was born with two green thumbs. I'm very fortunate to have two parents who are very entrepreneurial. And so I grew up on a strawberry farm from when I was wee little till when I was about, I was 8. And so then we moved away briefly to Iowa, came back to Ohio, and that whole time when I was 9, I bought my first push mower. I was just born to do this. And so then I went through high school, kind of played sports, did my thing on the side, and then went to Ohio State, where I studied landscape, or horticulture. I have a horticulture degree. But I studied garden design in England as well, and so that really set me down the path. So that was about 20 years ago when I graduated. But really, when I was a junior in college, I had to pay my way through. I was running $1 million business, and I was going to school full time, and that's when I hired all my friends, and so I've been doing it ever since. Yeah.
That's really cool. I know you have quite a practice out there in Ohio. You do some incredible stuff, especially your container gardens, and things are just incredible. I love how you mix textures of different plants, and that always fascinates me how well you do that.
Yeah, and so my background is fine art, so really I use fine arts to then draw in my design aesthetic and style, and if anything, you have to be authentic in what you do, and really have a strong design voice, and hopefully that shows.
Absolutely. No, it's definitely very obvious. So how did you get started in the industry? You had mentioned a strawberry farm and your parents.
Yeah. So my grandparents on one side were all agriculture. On the other side, my grandparents worked for Disney, and so when those come together, that really is a fun combination. And so that's what you see here. Agriculture and Disney merged. So it's just been. So it got started that way. I basically started mowing. My parents bought me a truck when I was in high school. I played sports. I was a big athlete in high school. That meant I had no time to go and get a real job or get a job working for someone else. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
So I decided I started mowing lawns, and it just snowballed. Good work leads to more work, and that's our motto around here. And by the time I knew I had more work than I could handle. And so really that was the emphasis of it, the infancy of it all, I should say. And then when I got out of college, I graduated in 2004 from Ohio State. That was when I had a time when I had an opportunity to go to grad school. Didn't want to do any more schooling. I was done with school at that point. Had an opportunity to design green roofs in New York City, and that was really cool. But we had built this company to this point and decided it was really a good time. My wife, my then girlfriend, soon to be fiance, and now my wife, moved back to Columbus, and she got a job there, and so it was just a great time to jump in head first. So that was 2004 is when we really kicked it off into that high gear.
That's great, and it seems like your whole family's involved.
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate. We really all of our eggs are in one basket for sure.
Nice.
From my kids who are young, 7 and 11, and then my parents are involved as well. So my parents, they bought me the first truck. My parents basically invested in me as their retirement, and it's paid dividends. We've been very fortunate, and My mom is actually still involved in the maintenance side of the business. So we're design, build, maintain, I should say. And my mom is great. I get to see her all the time. And it helps. When I went back to school, my mom actually went back to school for a hort degree as well.
Wow.
So it was just a great timing, and our community was really growing at the time. New Albany, Ohio, is a suburb of Columbus. Is really affluent, and we're really lucky to. I grew up here. I grew up on the other side of the tracks, but it was really the community grew around us, and we saw a great opportunity to jump in and do some really exciting things from maintenance and then design and build. Then came in later as I felt comfortable with my design voice, as I got educated, as I really started to become a professional.
That's fantastic. We have Joe Slemmy's watching. Hey, Joe.
Oh, Joe. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, Matthew Cunningham's watching. Matt Daly.
Matthew.
Thank you guys for joining in here. So, Nick, if you had to pick something that was your specialty or your thing, what would it be?
I am wholeheartedly a plant nerd. So really, plants are my thing. A lot of our designs are very plant centric, I call them. So they really rooted around the planting schemes. I want to kind of bring the garden to the living areas, and so you see that where a lot of our patios are bluestone and gravel and things like that, but the plants are really the main component of it. A lot of things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so a whole other aspect of our business is our nursery that we have here. And we don't retail or anything. All of our nursery stock is grown for my own consumption and designs, and then our container garden as well, which is a big part of what we do. And so that aspect being, I guess I'm the plant orderer. So I get to pick my palette, all the time. I have my staples I love to use. And so I have a unique ability to really incorporate some unique plants into our schemes because I grow them myself. And these are things that weren't being supplied by our local wholesale houses or anything like that. So I said, I'm just going to grow it myself. I don't need anyone else to. So I import plants from Europe. We buy from fantastic growers across the U.S., which we have many, many wonderful wholesalers, from Hoffman Grass to North Creek Nurseries to Creek Hill, just you name it. There's just some amazing, amazing nurseries here that are doing an awesome job. And so so I incorporate those things. I really keep my eye on the design pulse of what's going on across the world. And I travel to get inspiration. And so it's very fortunate to be where we are. Plants have opened up a huge door in my life, and it's amazing that I've been able to achieve what I've been able to achieve because of plants. And so I'm truly grateful because of that. So.
That's really cool. I know that you posted or had a picture of a gigantic, I think it was a blue agave.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that you had in Ohio, and I'm like, how do you? Obviously, keep in the greenhouse, but I've always wanted one of those in Pennsylvania, but I don't have anywhere to store it. So
yeah, well, that's it. That's 90% of it.
Yeah.
And then a forklift to get it into place every year. So yeah, the agave Americana, those are going on. I think about 12 years now. 12 years in pots, and so we aged them yesterday. I think around 20 years old now, and because I have about probably 50 pups. I could send you one. I don't know how I'll get it to you, but yeah. And so
that'd be awesome.
So yeah, we're just cool things, right? Just push the envelope.
Absolutely. No, I love that texture, especially in a foreign environment. It really makes it pop. It's really, I love that.
For sure.
So good at that. So tell me how the peony farm, the dogwood farm, and the landscaping and all that ties together. Like, how does it all communicate?
It's some's business and some's just passion, right? I mean, so like I said, plants are my absolute passion, and so really, I run really well in the design world. I run really well in the plant world, and so so that's cool. And because of that, I felt this need to really become essentially a farmer, right? It's my roots, it's my heritage. And it's always been crying out to come out. And because of where we are, we have 35 acres here outside of Columbus on the northeast side. A certain part of our income had to come from agriculture to keep our agricultural tax exemption.
Okay.
And so because of that, we started a farm. And that was, I think we're about 11 years old now. So Red Twig Farms, and I should say that last year we gifted that company to my brother and my sister-in-law. So they're complete sole owners now, and that's Red Twig Farms. They have a great Facebook presence, and so Red Twig Farms is essentially that. We started raising stems and twigs for our winter planters because we do so many planters. We do essentially 3 to 4 seasons of planters. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. We needed these stems for winter planters, and at the time I didn't have a great supplier for them, and so I'm like, there's dogwoods. I mean, I know how to grow dogwoods. I can pull artemisia here. I know the culture. I know the practice. And so I think the first year we started with, we planted out like an acre of dogwoods and willows, and so that was really interesting. It was humbling for sure, very humbling that first year. And then from there, we wanted to diversify the crop. And so we figured, well, what's the opposite of winter? Well, that's spring, summer, right? And so we're like, oh, I can grow peonies. We can definitely grow peonies. So we started with, I think it was like 2,500 plants maybe. And so, as you know, peonies are kind of like bamboo, I like to call it. They sleep first year, creep the second year, and then the third year they really establish and are beautiful. And so, so that first couple of years was just kind of investment in time, and every year we'd plant maybe 2,500, 5,000 more plants. So now I don't know exactly what the total plant count is up to, but last year harvested about 100,000 blooms of peonies. So we're in Red Twig Farms is, I believe, the largest peony grower in the state of Ohio, and really involved in American Grown, which is a great organization to support local floral, or the United States, I guess North American floral grown. And so it's really interesting. It's great. And they've really taken that and really changed the whole model, because initially we're like, oh, we'll just sell to the wholesale market, and these florists will buy these peonies for weddings, and it was great. But we overwhelmed the market the very first year, and because we just had so many, and so we're like, well, we got to rethink how this works. And by we, I mean Josh and Lindsay. And they then use Facebook and social media to really bring the customers, bring the retail market to them. And so they have farm stores, and so people come, they make their own bouquet, they arrange the flowers, right? And they buy and take them. And so they do it. Our first weekend is normally open is Memorial Day weekend. And so there's food trucks, there's, it's just all kinds of people. And so I think it was 7,000 people came on that weekend and bought peonies. And I think the first weekend they sold something like 20-some thousand blooms that first weekend, which is just insane when you think about it, just the volume. And so it got so big that they have to get you to pre-sign up, and that way you can control traffic flow. I mean, with 7,000 people comes many, many cars, right?
Yeah.
We don't ever park that many cars. Somehow it works. But yeah, they have VIP events. They have beer. You can arrange peonies and drink beer with a local brewmaster. It's just, there's all these really cool things. And so they really embrace the kind of the millennial mindset of experiences, right? Everyone wants experience. They don't need more things. They want to experience something. And so it really grew viral because of people with their Instagram photo, right, with their peonies, and friends telling friends. And so it's really cool. So the amazing thing is, we started this peony farm. Well, we're also a landscape company, right? We're gardeners, we're fine gardeners. Our busiest time is Memorial Day, May, things. So we have peonies that are coming to harvest. We have Red Twig Farms, and it's just like the timing, maybe the mindset wasn't quite right, but when it rains, it pours. And basically, you harvest peonies, you go out and you harvest at like 5:30 in the morning, harvest till about 7:30 or 8, and then you go out again in the evening. And the reason I say this is because we harvest peonies before they bloom. We harvest them in a marshmallow state. When they feel like a marshmallow, you can squeeze them. And then they go into a cooler, and they can be stored up to 5 weeks out with no water, and they're cooled to about 37 degrees and stored horizontally. Then you recut the ends and rehydrate them, and they come back to life up to 5 weeks after they're harvested.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
Crazy.
So we learned a lot. Those are things that we're just like the first year, like what do we do with all these? Like,
exactly. It's a rainy weekend, right?
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I mean, we were just literally giving bouquets to anyone we could, just like anything.
Yeah.
So now they have a subscription. They ship them across the country. Like they just all kinds of really cool things. And
It's incredible.
they do that, and I do this. So it's
Yeah.
great and they've done an amazing job with it.
That's so interesting. So interesting how you can take a cutting like that, a flower cutting, and just have it store for that long. That's
Oh,
incredible.
it's
All
great.
ship it and all that is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have, let's see, Isabel's watching. Hey, Isabel.
Hey,
And we have Daniel and Zach and Susan Cohen's watching as well.
Hey, Susan.
So a question for you is, in your landscaping side, who would be your ideal client? How would you describe them?
Yeah, so we don't sugarcoat who we sell to. We do high-end residential only, and so we really cater to that market. It's a very different thing. Around here, it seems like the biggest companies that are around us are commercial work, and that's just not what we do. We thrive on the relationships. We thrive on the curated style that comes with high-end residential, and so it's it's so funny. Like 10 years ago, I would have said, really executive level people who have what we say is more money than time, and just want things done really instantly. And we still have a lot of that, but we're really seeing a lot of these younger couples come into play, young families, people younger than I am. I just turned 40, and we're working with people in their mid 30s who have the means to do it, and really good taste. And social media has really helped to guide those clients to me, and we get to be very picky and choosy about who we take on, because we can only handle so many projects a year.
Yeah.
And so we very much interview the clientele coming to us just as much as they're interviewing us. And luckily with social media, they're really pre-vetted before they come to me. If they come to us, they want to get on. Sometimes they don't realize how much things cost.
Yeah.
So we had that conversation comes up pretty quickly. They also don't realize the timeline in which you have to reach out. I'm working 6 months to a year in advance, and we're working on projects right now that we'll be installing in 2 years from now.
Nice.
So that being said, sometimes, they're pre-vetted, but they're not vetted. We haven't vetted them appropriately. We haven't had the opportunity to discuss those things, I should say. So
yeah, you got to be clear, especially with that kind of a backlog, which is awesome to have.
Sure.
But if they're expecting tomorrow, it's not even covered.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
No, it's really cool though. It's a testament to how awesome the work is that you do.
Thank you. Well, and we, I think the biggest thing is we only grow within our skin, and so I'm not gonna go hire 20 more people. First of all, it's really impossible to do. But it's also we want to maintain an ultra high quality of work while we're doing it, and so I don't chase the rainbows. We just grow consistently. We grow steadily, and we've been doing that for the past really 10 years of a consistent growth. And even during one of our biggest growth spurts was during the recession 10 years ago, 08, I guess fall of 07, 08, and 09. We grew really 15% each year. And
What do you think that was?
Very strategic, actually. So really the biggest thing is that we're very maintenance driven, so that when these things happen, maintenance is that's not going to change. Our clients aren't going to go out and do their maintenance on these fine gardens, right? And they've invested so much in these things that you can't miss a year. And we all know that you have to do preventive maintenance, those sorts of things. So, and our clients aren't going to go out and mow their grass and things like that. And so we have skilled high level gardeners. Is basically we don't call ourselves landscapers. We call ourselves gardeners, fine gardeners, and so we really created this niche in Columbus for doing this, and so that's great. So maintenance always supports, and then our design work really speaks for itself. And so one of our questions I know is coming up is how are we doing through all this, and we really haven't slowed down. If anything, our clients are kicking it into high gear because they see an opportunity to get things done maybe a little bit more quickly. We did initially, about 5 weeks ago, we had 2 clients back out, like postpone, and not didn't cancel, but just postpone. Like, hey, let's wait till fall and see what's going on. Yeah. I was like, I got 2 spots that opened up. Like, I couldn't sleep like 6, 8 weeks ago because I was like, I don't know how we're gonna get all this work done. I don't know how.
I love it.
And so now it's like, oh man, we have a little bit of breathing room where we get to concentrate on these projects that are really amazing. And I've had design meetings last week, and people signed up, and we're rocking and rolling. So we are able to maybe push up that timeline of that 6 months to a year a little bit. And so it's really exciting. It's really fun. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, to having the opposite problem that most are, worried about right now is it's really a blessing. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that's just being authentic to who you are, right? Being, I guess, not sacrificing style. I guess I guess not finding the right words, but not sacrifice, not trying to do a quick sell, right?
Yeah,
Being your authentic brand is really how you build your reputation, and by doing that and really owning who you are as a designer, you can really just line the work up, which is great. And you get just every year we think like, oh, that was just the coolest client we worked for, and then the next year it's like, oh my gosh, this person's so cool as well. It's like, and they're coming to us. We're not marketing to them or anything. So
that's really
so it's great.
that is so cool. That's really the goal of all businesses, right? To have that kind of lineup and have raving fans and all that good stuff.
I think so, and I think some of our biggest fans, some of our biggest supporters are our clients, and so they're the ones selling for us. I don't have to sell, right? We finish a garden, we get in there, we get maintaining it, and they have a party, and the next thing we know, we're getting calls
Yeah,
and good photos as well. Matthew Cunningham's on here; he does an awesome job with that as well,
yeah,
and
sure does.
we really this year we're gonna get out there and photograph everything. Our cameras are ready, charged, and cards are cleared and ready to go photograph here in the next few weeks. But
Nice.
and good photos, good websites, good social really sells. And I
Yeah,
find a lot of work coming from Instagram these days. A lot of work coming from I get a lot of work from Pinterest too, which is kind of crazy. Some people can't figure out how to monetize Pinterest, but the Pinterest really helps to solidify me as an expert in what we're doing because
yeah,
oh my gosh, 3 million people are following you. It's insane, right? So
crazy.
then they start diving over the boards and everything. It just shows your garden style. It shows who
Yeah,
you are, that you have a good eye, and so yeah, social media counts, man. It adds
sure
up.
does.
It helps
You
the
definitely, you definitely, you're definitely well versed in that for sure. It's impressive to see what it's doing for you. Susan asks, how do you say no to potential clients that might not want to wait for
That's
your best?
tough, man. It's one of the hardest things. Absolutely, it's so hard. Um, sometimes it's just not the right fit, and that's the easy conversation, right? It's when it's the right fit, the timing's just wrong, and I don't know. That's probably one of the hardest things. I'm not good at saying no, because I always think like, oh, something's going to happen, and the pipeline's going to dry up and everything. It's like, well, something did happen, and the pipeline is not dried up, and so um, I don't know. It's probably one of the things I'm not the best at saying no. But the conversation of timing is ultra key because that really helps to weed people out. That being said, there are people we don't want to weed out, but the timing sometimes just isn't right, and we just really can't argue with that. So, and we really are very loyal to the clients that we have, and if we're working on a big project and we can't get to this other client, that's the conversation, and that's why we discuss kind of expectations on money and timing pretty early on in the
Yeah,
design setting.
that's important, especially
Yeah,
when it comes to the overall investment, getting that way up in the front, and not
yeah,
waiting to the end to give them the zinger because that always makes them excited, right?
yeah, for sure. And one thing I should say is I'm the only designer right now because I'm really good at selling ahead, and so I don't have anyone else in the office because I really at this point I don't need them.
Right.
If I do, I have people I can reach out to if I need to get caught up on things. But yeah, I don't have anyone else here because our workload is we
Yeah.
can. I mean, our workload is what it is. So we sell out really quickly, and we have a wait list for our maintenance, and right now actually we're building our maintenance up. We're actually gaining market share right now, so it's really exciting.
Absolutely. That's really freaking cool, dude. I love to hear it. I love it. So what is one of the bigger struggles you have in your business right now? Do you have any struggles?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is keeping everyone safe.
Yeah.
So for us, being in maintenance, so I should say we have right around like 35 employees right now. 35, 40 is where we hover around in springtime and summer. And so transportation is key, getting people back and forth, getting safely. And so that's been a huge thing for us. So and I would say, if you asked me if we had this conversation 8 weeks ago before this really hit, my biggest struggle was getting good employees.
Yeah.
And that quickly changed. We, in the past, I think 6 days, we've hired 4 people, 4 amazing people who we wouldn't have had the opportunity to hire before. And
Yeah.
so that's a major plus in all this. Other doors are closing, and our door is open for the people who are the right fit for us, the gardeners, the plant nerds, the people who really enjoy what they do,
Yeah.
the artisans. And so we're, like I said, we're actually growing our maintenance and our installation part of our business because of that. And there's great opportunities here, and that's how we did it last time during the downturn. Is we just gained more market share as far as that's concerned, and so that's a really well-oiled machine. Those gears turn with very little of my input, which is great. It keeps cash flow going
Absolutely.
really well.
Yeah.
And it allows me to focus on really having a really curated design build aspect of things because of that. And so that's amazing. We have some really good managers that really turn the lights on, turn the lights off at night, and with I still have to rub elbows with what we call our whales or our blue chip clients, and which is great. But I'm not out there doing the gardening work. It's one of my favorite things to do, and I wish I could. But
Yeah.
most of my days are spent running the business and doing the designing. So
That's really, really fun. That's really cool. Um, have you been affected by the shutdown? Have you had
yeah.
to stop? Has it been
Yeah.
any?
So we did. Yeah. So for the first 2 weeks, I'm trying to think. This was probably 4 weeks ago now. I'm thinking was the initial shutdown. It was
Mm.
the shutdown. So we closed our doors. We were in a great position where we were kind of ahead for the season. Um, Weather was not looking great, and we wanted our employees to be safe. I mean, it was crazy, right? There was so much information kind of coming at everyone. We're a really young company by demographic, so everyone has kids. So everyone had to figure out schooling, and figure out what their spouses were doing. Um, this whole terror of making sure you're social distancing and figuring out how that all works out. And we wanted to figure out how to keep our employees safe. And so that was a huge deal. Those 2 weeks we took to figure out who's doing what, how are we getting there, what's the protocol,
Yeah.
what do we have to do to keep people safe, right? I mean, people weren't talking about face masks at that point necessarily. You could still buy them during the shutdown, and then they came out and just required them. There's nothing anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So we were procuring things to make sure our employees were safe, the sanitation, and so we used to have it where everyone would report to the shop and disperse from here and go their own ways to different job sites in company trucks. Now our managers are driving the vehicles. It's 1 to 2 people per truck. 2 people if it's a crew cab, they can stay far enough away. Um, One person with a smaller truck, and then they have to disinfect, wipe down all tools twice a day, and truck twice a day. No coming in the shop, text in your times, use it, sign in from your phone. So it's very different. So we needed those 2 weeks to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
We need 2 weeks for our employees to figure out what's going on with families, get their kids set up on learning distance, through the computer, and my kids are loving it. I don't think they'll ever want to go back and sit in a classroom ever again, truthfully.
Mine too. Yeah.
and so yeah, so those first 2 weeks, we decided we were landscape were allowed to work. We were just at a point we just felt it just wasn't right. We wanted to figure out the process, and so we opened back up 2 weeks ago. So. And so far, knock on some wood here. This is laminate here, but we'll see that Things are going well. Gosh, there was a lot of hesitation at first from employees, wondering, fearful. And we have a couple employees who have not reported back to work yet because of a prolonged illness or
Yeah.
just maybe a little bit of fear. And so that might have been the biggest hurdle initially. And I just think, this whole year is going to be really crazy. For us to think that this thing's over, man, it's not. It's going to rear its ugly head again this coming fall and winter. And so, yeah, I think the world's going to adapt very quickly. And you hear the news of vaccines changing by the day. The timeline keeps getting pushed up, and potential of different things that they found. And it just, gosh, a number of our clients are doctors and surgeons and administrators in hospitals, and you just like, gosh, man, you just thank you so much for being so amazingly smart and
Absolutely.
protecting the world and doing what you do, because we're just people out here just trying to inspire people by gardening, and we can only do that with these amazing people, individuals. So.
Absolutely, for sure. So you mentioned earlier that you do most of the selling or all the selling for the company itself, as far as
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah. So really, I'm really client facing. So I am. My mom does a fair amount of it. She has her clientele that she handles, her client portfolio, and then my wife as well, Allison, who tries to stay behind the scenes. She's just too good to stay behind the scenes too much, and so she interacts with clients.
good?
A lot of times it's now all it's text and email, and that's how you're conversing most of the time. It seems like these days,
Yeah.
and an example that we have though for one of our clients. I have a client that we've been working for since I was 17 years old. I just turned 40. Okay,
Wow.
and I've seen him probably
Okay.
3 times in that entire time period. So that's the relationship that we have with some of our clients. Is just good work leads to more work, and we just keep doing that good work. And so
Absolutely.
we are the guardians of the gardens for sure.
I love that. I love that. Now, do you
And
have
we
any-
take ownership over. We feel like they're just as much ours as they are to the clients.
Absolutely.
So.
Like, no, you can't do that over there because.
Oh yeah, don't put a tent up there. No.
Yeah, exactly. That's not how I designed that space. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any professional sales training, or is it something you learn on the street? Like, what? How did you?
So no professional sales training. It's just things I picked up over the year. I'm really good at selling to the affluent. It's a very different skill set, right? So you have to speak the same language. You can't be intimidated. You have to. It's just very different. So I don't have any formal training. My dad did work in a Fortune 500 company. He worked for Dow AgroSciences, and so he was a salesman. And so I think I picked it up by osmosis. It just was in my DNA, and then I used to ride around with my dad and visit farmers when I was younger, and just pick things up by just watching. And I'm not I'm not a used car salesman. I mean, the work speaks for itself, and like I said, a lot of times we're well on the way before we would have the first conversation, and so no formal. There are times I wish I had formal sales training, but you learn from mistakes, and I think that's just how I've done, and really no pressure, and with our clients, they expect a certain level, and so to get that, there's a certain price point that comes at. So.
And there's something to be said about social media and how you're providing value first through gorgeous imagery and video and things like that, so people can kind of date you before they actually decide to marry you.
For sure,
huge.
For sure.
It's a big change.
Yeah, and I post often from my house, and my house is. I think interior designers do it so well, right? Because interior designers, one of the things they do, the first thing they do if they don't have portfolios, they do their own house, right?
Yeah.
And they do it at cost, and they blow it up, and so they use that so well. Well, that's the same mentality we have as our home as our best portfolio piece. I'm always there, so I'm always photographing it.
Yeah.
And so it's just it's just sold a lot of gardens because people are inspired by it. They really enjoy it. I should say, we just found out we're going to be in the June issue of Better Homes and Gardens coming up
Nice.
shortly. So
Congratulations.
an article about our garden and the family, and so that's really cool. That's really awesome.
No, I love your space there. I love when you're shooting pictures and sending over. I'm like, man, that place, he's thought of every detail.
Thanks. It's fun. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, gardening and design are my profession, my hobby, my passion. So when that happens, it's just comes natural, right?
Yeah. So what is this outbreak? How has it changed your business at all? Has there been any negative or positive implications yet?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say really positive, really positive.
Yeah.
Our client communications have been fantastic.
Mhm.
When we took the 2 weeks off, they're like, oh, clients are like, oh my gosh, no, you're so essential to us. No, you can't. We're like, everything's fine. We're like, we'll be back. Don't worry. But those, gosh, you just, I think the interaction of people and just letting people know how much you care about them and those sorts of things are so key. And reaching out to them, I know we talked a few weeks ago, and you talked about how you're reaching out to people, and that's, gosh, that just it's terrible to take something like this for us to do that, right?
Yeah.
And I think the biggest light I see in this is, gosh, humanity's coming back a little bit. Our core values are coming back. Our family values are really kind of changing, and what people really find important. Then secondly, our clients, they're not going to Europe this summer. They're not going to, well, they might be going to their second home or wherever they're going. But man, their focus is on the home because they are there. And so we see that people, these add-ons, some of our biggest installs are really our existing clients we have already, because we're doing overhauls, we're doing renovations to the garden. And so a number of those are happening. And then the ability to hire great candidates and great people has been, we had this conversation in January when I was with a group of our friends, and he's like, well, what's it going to take for the people to reevaluate and want to work with their hands and work outside? And we're like, it's going to be like to take a meteor or something. And well, no, it was COVID-19 is what it took. And so we're hiring people who were graphic designers but have tremendous skill sets within the gardening and great experience, and that are like, oh, I want to come to work. I want to work outside again. This is my passion. And so highly skilled. We're like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, these people are now available.
Yeah.
And so that is definitely a bright spot in what's going on. Gosh, we all have to still be so vigilant and safe, but I feel like we're so lucky in what we do, because we really work in isolation a lot of times anyways. We work well without outreach of 6 people or 6 feet of people, other individuals on the site. Other than transportation, which is the biggest thing, but I think we've got that pretty well figured out, and we get to work outside. And the timing of this thing, I don't know, it could have been much better, because we're coming to spring and summer. Had this thing really hit, and probably in hindsight probably was here in October, November, we just didn't realize it. But had it hit then, and then we had the entire winter, gosh, that would have been so depressing and really, really hard to do. So I think the fact that the world is waking up again, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, is a huge thing. And spring has been so beautiful here. We've had some cool temperatures, but man, the blooms have been amazing, and so we've really been enjoying it.
That's really neat. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting how the timing laid out here. I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, if it would have hit around the holidays, that'd have been a long slug in our world, in our industry. That would have been a long slug through the winter.
Oh my gosh, for sure.
Just kind of falling right into the busiest time. So even if it's only at 50% for some people, that's still better than the 0% it would have been 3 months ago.
Yeah, and I should say we're really lucky being here in Ohio, because landscape we are viewed as essential and things like that. So and I know people out there are struggling, and I definitely feel for the situations of where people are not able to work. So, but yeah, we love Ohio. If anything, I think maybe big cities might be viewed a little differently after this, living in tight quarters. So we're fearful that maybe Columbus could have another growth spurt after this.
Big rush. Everybody's coming for Nick.
Everyone's coming.
I love it. So John's watching, and Chris Major's watching. Hey, Chris. Chris says, hey, Nick and Josh.
Hey there.
So another question for you. If you had one piece of advice that you could give other landscape design build professionals right now, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, just continue to hone your skills, hone your brand. This is a great time to reevaluate maybe what you're doing, maybe change things up a little bit. Restructure a little bit. This is a great time to rebuild. Um, I don't mean from the ground up. I mean from really, what do you want to do? How do you are you enjoying what you're doing? How's your business structured? How much of your part of it is on your shoulders, right? And I think this is a great opportunity to really look on those sorts of things and just really see what you want to do when this is all over. Like, how can you position yourself for when this thing takes off? Because what I look at right now is we were due for a recession, right? We were due for a major hit. I think this sped that up. To me, this kind of flattened the curve of what that could have been as far as a recession. So on the back end of this, I see people really, really wanting to spend.
Yeah.
So what could have lasted as, and I'm not saying it's going to be rainbows and butterflies for in 6 months. That's not what I'm saying. But we could be through this recession slash mini depression here pretty quickly because the world economy is really going to be rearing and ready to spend on the backside. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's our clients aren't slowing down, and I think just really look at the clientele you're working for too. I mean, and that I think if you're losing a lot of work now, maybe you're not really in the right market for what is right for you. Right? You need consistency, those sorts of things, and so. Um, you know, our business model being what it is for 50% maintenance, and then the rest is design, build, and nursery. So that's really crucial for what we do to get through these things and thrive through them.
So it's the maintenance that you really hold as your foundation.
It's cyclical, yeah. Yeah, we really don't lose clients unless they move, and even then, a lot of times we retain the garden and home. Um,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things that it's our bread and butter, and that's what really keeps things really very, very consistent. And I think it's one of those things too that it's that part of the business is so easy to set up and get running. When all you have to do is oil the gears every now and then, and so that's very rewarding. My initial background was landscape maintenance and gardening. I mean, and it's my hobby, it's my passion, it's what I love to do. I just don't get to go out on people's properties and charge
You
them.
got your house, right?
Yeah, it's my house. Yeah, so I'm the only one doing the work at my house. I have to.
Yeah.
Uh, and so, yeah, so I think that's a great opportunity to reevaluate. What is the mix of your clientele? What do you want to focus on? And there are people who thrive at commercial work and those sorts of things. That's not what I am good at, because I really need that interaction of the homeowners and yeah, doing things that are fun. So
You get to see the emotional response to all of your hard work.
hopefully joy, right?
Yeah.
All joy. Like,
Uh,
oh, what do you do here? No.
yeah, exactly. So do you have any other wisdom you want to bestow upon us before we finish up
Yeah.
here?
I mean, I think it's just build your brand, do what you're passionate about. Like I said, being authentic is one of the biggest things in what I do. And so telling your story, people want to hear your story. Um, and I think as business owners, as designers, sometimes we don't see value in what we bring a lot of times. We don't tell it. We're probably the worst ones at telling our story. And so when people have an emotional connection with you, when they feel vested in you, that's when these relationships go to the next level with clients. And so that goes a long way. And like I said, if you don't have a good portfolio yet, and you're young and you're just starting the industry, do your house, do your parents' house, do your grandparents' house. Like, take it over the top and photograph it. If you're not sharing what you're doing, it's hard for that to snowball into more business, right? By me sharing on social media, people are like, "Oh, you're always on this stuff." I'm like, "No, it's first of all, it doesn't take much time ever. It's what I like to do. I'm very voyeuristic. I like looking at other people's worlds as far as what they're doing. And if you're not, telling your story, if you're not showing your creative voice, then someone else is going to tell the story for you, and they're not the best person to do it. You're the best person to do it because it's your voice, right? So don't be afraid to share, and yeah, keep things. I like to keep things happy, and I don't dive deep into political issues or things like that on social media because that's just not who I am. It's not the way I am, and I think just know that people are always watching. So yeah, so share your work, share what you love to do, share the passion. Don't be afraid to share information because the second you share, and the way you installed something or the plants you're using, that just creates good camaraderie as well in the industry. You can't be afraid to because your competitors are watching. That's just whatever.
They'll never do it the same way you do it anyway.
Yeah, that's right. And there's
They're
enough
watching
work
your
for
effort.
right? So, yeah.
I appreciate it, Nick. I always love your energy. I always love
So
your happiness. I can just feel it from this side. I always love that. Let's see. So, Nick, if somebody wants to see the kind of work you've done, what's the best way for them to find you?
Yeah. So our website is mccland.com. That's Mary Cat land as in landscape.com. Also, my Instagram is NickMCCland. So you just search Nick McCullough on Instagram and you'll find me. And then, you can find me on Pinterest. I'm Nick Garden Guy.
The
there. And then Thinking Outside the Boxwood is our blog and our just kind of way of spreading the love and sharing information about the great books that we're reading or different techniques or gardens we're visiting type deal. And so check us out. We're updating the website. It should be going live here hopefully sooner than later. I got a little waylaid with trying to 2 weeks of figuring out how to keep the crew safe other than that. So thanks so much. And thanks for your support, Josh. Always really love your friendship. So thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Nick, for joining us today on the State of Landscape Design Build Industry. And I love what you shared and all the passion you bring to the industry. It's wonderful. It really is. So I appreciate your time and good luck and keep going forward, man. It's
right. Safe out there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you again, Nick.
See you guys.
See you later.
Bye.